Each day I struggle with the shame and guilt of my decisions. They haunt me. With each misstep, I saw the pain of my failure in the eyes of my children and my wife's countenance. She was tired. My children's unspoken questions echo in my head. There is a great divide between the man I was and the father they needed that grew with each disappointment. Still, the faith I learned from my mother continually brought me to my knees for strength. Redemption and forgiveness seem so far away. I am a fighter, but I was in a contest I could never win by myself. I wanted to live for Jesus, but the seductiveness of evil was my foe. The place of victory for me begins and ends at the altar. As the remnant of my past confronts me everywhere I turn, I lay it all at the altar. The place where mercy and grace intersect and lead me on a path towards healing each day.
Behind bars in the ancient prisons, the Apostle Paul wrote most of the New Testament. These words transcended time and have transformed lives and hearts around the globe. Today, this same word is touching populations that unfortunately most of us forget, the incarcerated. And under the shadow of confinement, there's incredible stories of redemption. One such story is that of Dominick Swabacker, a man whose journey from brokenness to purpose illuminates the fact that God is working in all of our lives. Welcome to Under Construction, a divine work in progress. I'm your host, Jim Underwood, and together we'll delve into Dominick's life, his passion, his purpose, his calling, and we'll see remarkable ways transformation is taking root, even in the darkest of places. Is that a picture of your mom?
Yeah, that's my mom right there. I don't know exactly how old she was right there. I was probably about like 10 years old. Thank you. She was a beautiful woman.
There's another one. Who's that?
These are a couple of her best friends, Peppa, and I believe that's my Auntie Dorothy there. And they were just at probably one of our family functions. My mom definitely used to bring the family together, everything that she did.
She has a pretty smile.
Yeah, she did. She was beautiful.
And this one?
That's my dad, my biological dad. He passed away when I was 3 years old. So I never really had the chance to meet him or know him very much, but
yeah. Beautiful couple.
Yeah, they did look good together.
Yeah, I can see the blend of them creating you. That's good. So what was your childhood like, Dominic?
My childhood was great. It was, besides the fact of losing my dad, when I was 3, my mom remarried, I think when I was about 7, 8 years old, 8, 9 years old, something like that. But, from as far back as I can remember, my mom she did everything she can to make sure that I was taken care of and loved, and just, she gave me that love that I've never received again, when she passed. She passed, obviously, when I was 15, 1993. She died from leukemia. She got sick when I was probably about 11, 12 years old, and, it hit her pretty fast. She passed, but my upbringing, she always made sure that I had the best birthday parties, and, I was one of the only kids in the neighborhood to have a trampoline, and so, I just, my mom, I really felt that love from my mom. I was a mama's boy, honestly. Yeah, I definitely was.
Tell me about your dad.
So my dad, he passed when I was 3 years old. I hear a lot of stories about him, before he had me, obviously. he was in prison. You know, back in the day, I guess they said that guys would sell matchboxes, little matchbox full of weed he got caught with, and he got 10 years for that.
10 years.
Yeah, for a matchbox of weed. Imagine that, man. Wow. Poor guy. Wow. But this picture here is of him with the diploma. He got his diploma in prison, Canyon City.
So this is the neighborhood.
Yeah, this is the neighborhood. Northside Denver. This is where we grew up, born and raised.
Yeah. It's changed a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely, gentrification came over here, and it's beautiful. I love, you know, I love the style of these new homes. I mean, it's sad to see so many people have to move out, you know, from the neighborhood. A lot of good memories here. Good and bad memories.
Is this the church you went to?
No, I didn't get a chance to actually attend this church. We would come in though once in a while and talk to the father of the church. At that time, 87, 88, I think his name was Father Carboni. And one thing I do remember about Father Carboni is that he would open up the pond here, open up this gate. There was a gate access in here, and he would open it up, and we would go into the pond here, into the waterfall, and swim and get wet in the summer. He had a big German Shepherd dog that used to run around here, and so yeah, no, that it was definitely, you know, good old Father Carboni. But you know, he used to allow us to come in here as a kid, and that's something that I'll always remember. Witnessed our first drive-by shooting here in this neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah, it was a house right here where 3536 is. My homeboy Rob lived there with his mom Gloria and their family, and yeah, we were coming out of our house one day and see a little black Regal pulling up, and they slowed down, and you see the arm come out the window, and nobody got hit, but bullets did go through the window. Bullets ended up in the walls. Yeah, it was not as.
How old were you?
I was about 12 years old, 13 maybe.
Wow. Is that the house there?
3520 Navajo right here, and this is where we grew up. None of this was here. You know, all these houses now, like we were talking about, been regentrification. So, yeah, it's sometimes a little, you know, heartwarming when I come by here.
So when did you start getting in trouble?
I was about 13 or 14, 13 years old when I started really doing a serious amount of crime. You know, by the time I was 12, 13, when my mom got sick, I was running around selling little pounds of weed and stuff like that in the neighborhood, and little sacks. And then, you know, I started breaking in cars and stealing car stereos. And I developed an addiction, though. I started using cocaine, and once I started using cocaine and doing those things is when I really turned into a hardened heart criminal, you know. I'm already a passionate person at times, I heard, you know, and I'm amped up. So you could figure off cocaine and Hennessy, I'm really amped up, you know. And so, you know, it just really brought out the worst in me, you know. I was never bullied or nothing like that.
So how did you meet Dominic?
So I was 14 years old doing like a after school type job at Lake Middle School, and I worked with Dominick's cousin, and I think maybe he seen me or something at some point, because then he used to just show up with him to work.
Why did you stay together with him all those years?
I asked myself that a lot. I can only think now that it was because of the Lord. He, and not being, on that path, and, going to church and, faithful or really believed. But when I think about it, like, it was most likely the Lord, because I don't see why we would have stood together so long.
Yeah, that's good. So share with us some of those dark times.
Some of the dark times are...
How dark did they get?
Pretty dark. I honestly, at some points, we would definitely argue a lot when we were within each other's presence, because there was quite a bit of time where we kind of would just pass each other. I'd get home, we would leave, I'd wake up, go to work. Most of the time he wouldn't even be home yet. So, yeah, it was a pretty toxic, I would say, relationship when I think back on it.
Sure. So what was Dominic like as a father when he was, doing his thing?
He was actually a good father. He'd always, play with the kids and do that dad thing and go to the park, and he wanted to, take them to Illich's, all that fun stuff. But of course it was just during the day that he'd leave, like, later on in the afternoon or the night. So
take us back to when he was doing his thing, and what was that like as a child? How old were you when you first noticed that this doesn't seem right?
So to be honest, I feel like it's kind of one of those things where you don't even realize it's wrong until somebody points it out. So like as a kid, I'm getting everything I want. I'm spoiled. I'm with my dad, who's my best friend, and like we're always like doing fun things, And so it's just like materialistically, I feel like that's how I was like as a kid taken care of.
Sure.
It's because also my parents were so young. They were like 16, 17. So it's like, how do you really love a kid when you're a kid, So me, I always thought it was good until it got to the point where it's like, oh, my dad's getting taken away from me. What's going on? I thought everything was okay.
So describe one of those scenes when the police took him away. Do you have a early memory of that?
I do. So I was actually 6 years old. And like I said, he was my best friend when I was little. So like I was a daddy's girl. And so it was Mother's Day even. At this point, he was already wanted. So we were like staying at different hotels, at different family members' houses. We were always like on the go. So this night we were at a hotel, and we went to go get my mom like a little gift, and we're leaving the store. And I just remember being in the van, and all of a sudden like cop cars are surrounding us.
Oh my goodness.
And so he just like pulls into it where it's like probably behind the hotel we were staying at, but he pulls in the parking lot. He's like, I love you so much, I'm gonna have your mom come get you. And he gets out of the car and runs.
So you were pretty young when he was out in the streets doing his thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember much of that?
Well, he was in and out of jail until I was about a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
So elementary, middle school, again, he was in and out of jail. And I think I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
How
so?
It was like, elementary school, people ask about your family, stuff like that, and I would lie. I'd say, oh, my friends would come over, they'd be like, where's your dad? He's on a work trip.
Sure.
He's somewhere. I was embarrassed, and as time went on, I kind of just started losing hope and my dad. Because when I was young, I believed everything he said. You know, he made promises to me, and I loved him.
Sure.
He told me to take me to Disney World, you know.
Yeah.
Every dad does. And I would count on him. And over time, I slowly just start losing that hope.
The struggles for the incarcerated don't end when the prison doors open. Yeah, they're free, but for many, it presents a whole new set of problems. I mean, think about it. You're thrust into this world that left you behind, and now that same world expects you to fit right in seamlessly. But how? The skills that you need on the outside aren't the same ones that you were developing on the inside. And that's just the beginning. There's landmines everywhere. And it all starts with the stigma, the black mark of disgrace. You made mistakes, and sometimes they were big mistakes. But on every application for jobs, housing, credit, you have to disclose those mistakes. And you'll find that people, well, they're not as willing to give you a second chance. And all these factors point to that fancy word called recidivism. 2/3 of people released end up going back. Why? They lose hope. If it's harder on the outside than it is on the inside, it's no wonder many of them are going back. So what is the answer? How do we break this cycle? Is it programs? Is it funding? Is it prison reform? How do we instill the hope that these individuals need? So when did it change? I mean, you said it was a long process, but when was that moment that was like, no more, I can't do it anymore?
It was around in 2016 in December. I would go home after the strip clubs and be high as a kite. And I wouldn't want to go inside because I wouldn't want my wife to see me high. She really didn't know that I had an addiction. They thought I was selling dope. They thought, you know, they knew I was acting up. I was cheating on my wife. She wasn't my wife at that time, but still we were together 20 years. You know, I was being with different women every night and living in the strip clubs. That's what I did. I lived in the strip clubs. I used to run the strip clubs. I used to get in fights in the strip clubs. I used to do whatever I wanted in the strip clubs. And I finally, you know, there was nights where I'd go home and I wouldn't want to go inside because I'm high as a kite. I had a home that we had just bought even, and I would stay in the backyard. Found myself sometimes going in the shed and not wanting to go in. By the time I would go inside, it'd be 5 o'clock, 6 in the morning. My wife would be waking up, getting ready to go to work, and I'm supposed to be watching the kids and helping out with the kids, and you know, it was ugly. And by the grace of God, finally, I seen how ugly it was, and I didn't want it no more for my life. And then even while I was selling.
So the time when you had your dad doing his thing, and then it changed. Was it a dramatic change? Could you see it right away?
Oh yeah, it was instant.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because I too always, again, because I knew from a young age, he would always say something but then do something else. And so for a really long time, I stopped trusting what he said. I didn't listen because it never came to fulfillment.
Yeah.
And then I do remember when he had like truly surrendered and like given his life to God and like said no more, it was no more.
I seen the change right away because I remember the day it happened. I remember I was sitting on our couch. He was out with his friend talking for a while, and I was just sitting there. He came in, he's like, I'm done with that life. I'm not going back. I told him I'm not selling anything for them. I said, if you don't have any good intentions for me, don't come around me. So I remember that day. And
Did you believe him?
at first it was hard. It's like, he's just saying this. It's another thing he's saying.
Yeah.
It's another promise
Yeah.
that he's not going to keep.
Yeah.
So it was in the back of my mind, but you could tell in his voice, he's like, I'm done. That's not for me anymore.
What role does faith have in your life?
It plays a big part. I kind of rely on my faith and trust in God every day, you know. Sometimes I kind of have a hard time like talking to people, and I kind of get in my own head about a lot of things.
Sure.
So just relying on God helps me a lot.
That's great. That's great. Are you very close with your dad now?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, he's always like there, you know, and we have a lot of good talks.
What do you like best about your dad?
My dad, he's definitely like very, like my mom said, he's very strong. He's like my protector. He's like a symbol of peace. I feel like he's there every time we need him. Like there are arguments, like there's definitely times like between me and my dad where things aren't always on a good time, but he's like my best friend.
So did you see a big change in your dad?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How so?
I think it just went from not being there to being very present, like very present. There's not a day where, you know, you don't come home and he has a smile on his face and he's, you know, asking how your day was and yeah.
God continues to bring good people in my life. And, you know, I got people that come to me now and say, man, God showed me this about you. God showed me that about you, and give me a word, you know. God has many people that prophesize over my life. And, you know, I see it coming true. This is my dream.
What, this old building?
Yes, sir. This old building.
Wow. Under construction.
That's right. The building's under construction, just like our ministry. This is why I'm going into the prisons. This is why we have developed this program, to go in there, reach the men, get them, help them re-enter back into society, back into the community. And if I could have it my way, it'd be this community, because this is the north side. This is where I grew up. This is where I would have them. I want them here, transitioning into our homes. I want them to learn a trade while they get out. You know, for example, to become an electrician.
It's going to take a lot of work.
It's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take some money, but I believe in the name of Jesus that God's going to provide. He hasn't failed us yet. Everything that's from these visions that he's given me, you know, from many years ago, they come. And, you know, I've been learning just to really be dependent on the Lord. I've never tried to touch that goal on my own. I never tried to push it. And, you know, it's really been lately in my life now is where I'm really dependent on the Lord. I'm okay with waiting because he's faithful and he hasn't failed us.
A divine work in progress.
A divine work in progress, under construction.
What is the answer that can bring hope?
Jesus.
Transformed hearts are happening inside and outside the prison walls. There's many stories like Dominic's that we'll be bringing to you in the next weeks and months to come. They not only highlight the life-saving power of God's grace, but they underscore the need for gratitude in our lives, because each one of us is a divine work in progress. Thank you for watching.
Victory, victory, got me screaming victory. Since my Lord Jesus Christ came into my heart, I'm screaming victory. Victory, victory, streets ain't never done none for me. Victory, victory, streets ain't never done none for me. It's victory, victory, got me screaming victory. Since my Lord Jesus Christ came into my life, I'm screaming victory. Victory, victory, streets ain't never done none for me. Victory, victory, streets ain't never done none for me. When I'm praying for my city, they say, man, that prayer powerful. Something like that engine in my drop top Cadillac 2-door. Never knew my purpose before, now God got me preaching. Pastor Dom, imagine that, sin no longer leeching. Half a bird up in the toilet on my own, I flushed it. Sacrificed, I owe God one, Popo wasn't rushing. Vision clears percussion, if you hear it, know that ain't the goosebumps, that's the Holy Spirit. Screaming victory, victory, these streets ain't never done none for me. Victory, victory, yeah, my Lord got me screaming G. Victory, victory, streets ain't never done none for me. Victory, victory, cross country we be yelling G. Victory, victory, these streets ain't never done none for me. Victory, victory, yeah, my Lord got me screaming G. Victory, victory, streets ain't never done none for me. Victory, victory, cross country.